Do you want to learn more about how the brain connects to human behavior? Well, look no further than neuropsychology.
Neuropsychology is a study of how people's cognitive functions affect their nervous system and behavior. But before we talk about careers, let's go over the history of this subfield.
According to the National Library of Medicine, neuroscience first emerged in the 17th and 18th century. During this time, psychologists were looking for the cause of, quote, language disorders following a brain disorder, as stated in the article. Around the 19th century, Carl Wernicke and other neuropsychiatrists developed more specific mental assessments to test for mental functioning. Conrad Reiger and Theodore Ziehen were the first to develop neuropsychological test batteries. Later in the 1900s, Alfred Binet created a test battery that was later used in the military as the Army Alpha and Beta test to designate soldiers. Shepard Ivy Franz and Ward Halstead both created their own types of assessments, humanistic and psychometric respectively. The tradition of having these two types of tests, the one being humanistic and the other more psychometric, has persisted even to this day and has developed into two distinct areas of neuropsychology, clinical and cognitive. And from these two fields comes a variety of careers in neuropsychology to choose from.
The first career that may come to mind when people think about neuropsychology is a clinical neuropsychologist. These professionals have many responsibilities regarding the safety of their patients. Some of them worked with older adults to diagnose and treat cognitive disorders like dementia, Alzheimer's, or Parkinson's disease. They may prescribe medicine or provide therapy services to help their patients recover. You can often find these healthcare workers in hospitals or standalone clinics. Pediatric neuropsychologists are very similar to clinical neuropsychologists, but they only work with children. Since children aren't prone to diseases like Alzheimer's, these professionals look at different cognitive issues. They mainly focus on children with seizure or central nervous system disorders. Many people who get a degree in neuropsychology also go into research. The ones who choose this path spend a large majority of their time studying the brain and the nervous system rather than treating patients. While they do not interact with patients, they do develop new ways to diagnose and treat patients based on the data they gather. They might also work in a university setting where they typically conduct interviews, write reports, or teach multiple classes. Forensics neuropsychologists apply their knowledge and skill in the legal field, and they typically assess criminals or defendants' mental states and their ability to stand trial.
According to psychology.org, it typically takes 10 to 13 years in post-secondary education to study in this field. Neuropsychologists typically need a doctorate in psychology with a concentration in neuropsychology. You'd also need a year or more at an internship program. The internship program time usually depends on the state.
For a clinical route in this field, one would need to pass the EPPP to become licensed. Here is a step-by-step plan for those interested in entering this field.
Step 1. Earn a bachelor's degree. Most students choose psychology, biology, pre-med, or another related program.
Step 2. Earn an optional master's degree in neuropsychology. Completing a master's degree can help you be more competitive when applying for doctoral programs, but it is not required.
Step 3. Earn a doctorate, either a PhD or PsyD in neuropsychology. A doctoral degree from an APA-accredited school in psychology or neuropsychology is required to qualify for the EPPP.
Step 4. Defend your approved dissertation. During your doctoral studies, you will write a dissertation to be submitted for publication or presentation. After completing the dissertation, you will appear before a board of professionals to defend your thesis.
Step 5. Complete a predoctoral fellowship. During your psychology pre-doc fellowship, you can get the necessary number of supervised clinical hours to qualify for licensure, which vary depending on the state.
Step 6. Pass the EPPP. All clinical psychologists must take and pass the EPPP before practicing.
And finally, step 7.
Seek employment. Now that you know more about neuropsychology, we hope that this helped you in your career selection process. Have fun!